Robinson Crusoe and His Farther Adventures by Daniel Defoe. Dramatised by Andy Barrett, with Tim McInerney as Crusoe. Episode 1.
Through here. Come on. There's a clearing.
Wait, Robinson. I've dropped something.
Leave it.
It had the silks in. I'll send Barnes back. Barnes?
Yes, sir. No, he's loaded up enough as it is.
Have you any idea how much those silks are worth?
My father would not run like this.
And your father is not here, Prince Alexander Nikolaevich. My task is to keep you alive and deliver you to your father's friends, not to let you prove your bravery. This spot will be our camp for now.
Shall I see if I can bring the horses in?
It is too thick. No horse can get through these trees.
Maybe the Tartars will attack us on foot.
They know that we have guns and are in a strong position. They will not come upon us yet. There are too few of them.
So what do we do now?
We wait.
To be murdered by men with ridiculous hats in a small wood in some freezing Muscovite backwater?
They are thieves and cowards. They will take what we have left with the horses, then leave.
Maybe, and maybe not. Maybe this is how it was meant to end.
Oh no, not wolves. You know how much I hate wolves.
We should make a fire. It will be a long night.
Shall I get some wood, sir?
Yes, but be careful, Barnes. Here.
Sir?
Take that fur off and wear one of these sables. It's darker and will help you not to be seen.
But be careful with it. A fur like that in England will fetch a fortune.
Yes, sir. Maybe I'll be able to find a way out.
Do you think he will? And if he does, do you think he'll come back?
He's an honest man.
But we're not paying him very much. Maybe I should call him back.
Leave him.
1 month, that's all. 1 month away from England with enough spices and diamonds to clear all my debts and live happily into my dotage.
Robinson, what did you mean that maybe this is how it was meant to end?
It is a long story.
Which you don't want to get him started on. If we ever do get back to England, he should spend the rest of his life touring up and down the lecture halls.
If I had any sense, I would go back to my own nation.
I do not understand. You are English.
Yes, though my father was German. I was born Robinson Kreuznach.
Then what nation would you go back to?
My island, which I should never have left a second time. This is why all of our lives are in danger, because of me. But you will be saved, Alexander Nikolaevich. If I am to achieve only one more thing in this life, it will be to finally do what a father asks of me. Maybe then this sentence will be lifted.
What do you mean?
Please, stop asking these questions. Robinson is an old man with a long story.
My father told me that you were a greater and more powerful prince than even the Tsar.
Although my dominions were not so large, nor my people so many. It began over 50 years ago.
Here we go.
My original sin. A young and foolish boy with a head full of rambling thoughts that have never gone away.
We have been through this countless times, Robinson, and I forbid it. You are to study the law and embrace the path of the middle state.
You say this, Father, over and over, but I do not know what you mean.
The middle state is the one best designed for human happiness, not exposed to the miseries and hardships of the lower state, or embarrassed with the pride and luxury of the upper state. This way, Robinson, men go silently and smoothly through the world and comfortably out of it.
Just one voyage, Father.
I will not have you become a seafarer.
One voyage to clear my mind of these thoughts.
No, I say. If you disobey me, Robinson, then I tell you now that God will never bless you. And one day you will reflect upon having neglected my counsel when there might be none to assist your recovery. Do you hear me, son? Do you hear me?
I did not. I ignored my father's curse, and ill fate pushed me on with an obstinacy that nothing could resist. And so, when a friend in Hull told me of a ship that was setting out on which I could enjoy a peaceful introduction to the ocean, I went aboard, hoping to quench my desire with an uneventful voyage.
For God's sake, man, get off your knees! We need to cut away the foremast to save ourselves from this wind!
My legs, they will not move!
Get up! Get hold of the axe! Come on! You want to live or not? Now strike! Hard and fast! Look at the colour of your boy! Have you never sailed before?
I only came for a trial, in order to see if I was fit to go further abroad!
Out of the way!
I vow, if I am ever upon dry land again, to go straight home to my father, and never set foot in a ship as long as I live!
And I tell you this, lad, if we do survive, and if you do not go back to him, then it is as certain as a shark loves blood that you will meet with nothing but disappointments and disasters for the rest of your days.
So now you decide to tell me that you've been cursed not once, but twice. Why didn't you mention this before? An Englishman, I thought. An Englishman to converse with on the long journey home. Endless talk about an island I was prepared to put up with, but never any mention of a curse.
The ship was lost?
Yes. But by the mercy of God, we were picked up by a boat and taken to Yarmouth, from where I headed for London with not a notion in my head, hoping that maybe I would stumble upon a suitable companion to direct me on a straighter course. But instead I fell in with a young sea captain who stirred within me all of my notions of freedom, and who was destined, I am sure, to be my guide and protector. But tragedy struck, and it was to be his widow who became my true and loving friend.
I expected him to die on the ocean, not in his bed. Promise me you'll go home to your father now.
I cannot. It appears I am able to sin, but unable to repent.
Robinson, you have told me many times that you want nothing more than to be able to respect your father's wishes.
But your husband showed me so much. The spray of the sea and the thrust of the prow has thrilled my soul, Mary.
You are beginning to sound like him.
I'm sorry.
He said you would look after me.
And I will. But first, I must make another journey to Guinea. We had talked about it together. I must see it through.
Then I must say goodbye to you as well.
I will come back, Mary. I promise. Richer and wiser, and ready to see my father again.
Never underestimate the lure of profit in the direction a man's life ends up taking. Money will always point the way surer than any compass.
What did you buy in Guinea?
Men.
Slaves. It's a trade like anything else, only men tend to spoil quicker than spices.
But this time I did not arrive. Our ship was surprised in the grey of morning by a Turkish rover of Salih. We were all taken prisoner, and I was kept by the captain and made his slave. My life nothing more but a round of common drudgery for 2 years. And then one day I was sent on a fishing trip, and pushing my companion over the side of the boat, I was able to escape, keeping close to the shores of Africa.
You know, Robinson, the more I think about it, the more I am convinced that this story should be told. There's an audience out there crying out for true tales of adventure and endeavour after all these years of frivolity on the stage.
I sailed for 5 days, too scared to head for land, the nights filling me with more terror still as the sounds from the shore forbade me to sleep.
Yeah, you could build this bit up a bit, Robinson. Prowl the stage, growl a bit.
And was mightily relieved to be picked up by a Portuguese ship.
No, it's too soon. I wanted you to wrestle with lions and alligators.
Which took me to Brazil, where the captain introduced me to a young plantation owner called Wells, with whom I lodged, and who suggested that I settle there and try my hand. And so rather than aiding my dear friend Mary as I had promised, it was she that assisted me, sending money to set me on my way as Wells and I became business partners.
A toast, my friend, to our success.
You have waylaid me, Wells, but I forgive you.
When will you admit that you're settled, eh? 4 years is surely time enough. And you are happy?
Yes. And yet here I am achieving what my father wished me to achieve, only 5,000 miles away from him.
We can achieve more.
Everyone is turning a fine profit.
Which could be finer still, if we had men to work for us. I've been asked to make you a proposition, Robinson. You frequently explained how easy it is to purchase Negroes for service. If we charter a ship and you manage the trade, you will have your equal share of them without providing any of the stock.
I was thinking of making a voyage.
Yeah, excellent.
But to England, to see Mary and mend my relationship with my father.
Just one voyage, Robinson. We need slaves. Your father would not want you to put your fortune in jeopardy. Why don't you make this journey first, and then return richer still?
I'm beginning to see a pattern developing.
We had good weather till we came to Cape St. Augustino, from whence we lost sight of land and steered our course holding north by northeast, when a violent tornado took us quite out of our knowledge. For 12 days we could do nothing but let it carry us where fate and the fury of the winds directed. And then a second storm came upon us and drove us totally out of the way of all human commerce. When a ship strikes sand and her motion stops, the sea breaks over her in such a manner that all on board know there is nothing so sure as that they will perish. The water tore into the wood with the most terrible fury, and yet, together, somehow, we flung a boat over the ship's side and committed ourselves to God's mercy and the wild sea.
Row, for God's sake, row!
We worked at the oar towards land like men going to execution, for we could see, but would not utter it, that if we were to get nearer the shore, we would be dashed into 1,000 pieces on the rocks. Oh, God! We were all swallowed up in a moment. Nothing can describe the confusion of thought which I felt when I sunk into the water. The wave that came upon me buried me at once 30 foot deep in its own body, and I could feel myself carried with a mighty force and swiftness towards the shore. I was ready to burst with holding my breath when I felt myself rising up and was crashed against a rock, which beat the breath clear out of my body. And at that moment I knew I was lost. And as one more terrible wave came hurtling towards me...
You were thrust onto the shore?
Yes.
The only one alive?
I was.
None of the others were saved?
I expected to see them washed up on shore in the morning. But they never came. Only 3 of their hats, 1 cap, and 2 shoes that were not fellows. But the ship was still there, hanging in the water. And in that carcass were all the seeds that were to grow into my little nation. And so, when the rains stopped and the sea grew calm, I swam out to visit her. How quickly water discolors men. Forgive me, my friend. And found that there was one other survivor. Gulliver! Then I'm not alone after all. And look at all these provisions before us. Has any man been surrounded by such comfort? Bread, rice, cheese. What a welcoming feast we can have. And rum. A toast, Gulliver. To going silently and smoothly through the world and comfortably out of it. Weapons. And tools. And gold. As much as I could dream of. Damned gold. Damned gold that has brought me here. I have no use for thee. Remain where thou art and go to the bottom as a creature whose life is not worth saving.
How many bars?
8.
And you left it there?
No. Upon second thoughts I took it away. And for a while I sat on the ship amongst the rats and the lapping water, and believed that if I stayed there, a raft would appear, or somebody would climb out of the hold and tell me what to do. But nobody came. Yeah! What are you looking at? Oh, I know what you're thinking. Of all the ones that had to live, I had to be stuck with him. Crusoe, who had neither craft, nor art, knowledge, nor invention. Well, I'm a plantation owner, aren't I? I can oversee men working with canes and tobacco. I can read a compass. And turn my face against every piece of wisdom and common sense that came my way.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but where's Barnes?
Oh, do not worry.
But it's been nearly half an hour. I mean, surely it doesn't take that long to find wood.
Did you make the raft?
Yes, but never was one less sturdy. I was convinced that everything I had laden upon her would slide into the brine. But catching a current, Gulliver and I came ashore again in a little cove further on. There was a hill behind us which rose up very high, and taking one of the pistols, we climbed to the top to survey the situation. And sure that there was no other living thing there with us, I raised my pistol. I believe it was the first gun that had been fired there since the creation of the world.
Could you shout something defiant aloft on the hill? I am alone, but I am still a man!
And every morning, if the sea was calm, I would go back to the ship, having made another raft, bettered from the experience of the first, and I picked that vessel bare. Nails, cloths, hatchets, bedding, flour, razors, knives and forks, pens and ink, mathematical instruments, perspective glasses, vests, waistcoats, and weapons.
And still the ship did not sink?
She finally went down on the 25th day. And as she disappeared, I set to making a dwelling. A shabby kind of tent with the sail from the ship on a little plain on the side of a hill, which gave me shade and security. At the bottom of the hill there was a hollow place like the entrance of a cave, and I began to dig my way in like a dog.
Look, Father! Look! You were right! Are you happy now? I live on an island of despair! My home is a sail and I scrabble in the dirt! and it rains! Oh, how it rains! Listen to it, Father! Listen to it! Thunder and lightning! To strike me down! To strike my tent! To strike... Gunpowder! I must move it! Oh, do not strike me! Do not strike me!
Did the lightning hit?
It would be very dramatic if it did, Robinson.
No. And realizing the danger of keeping the powder in one place, I applied myself to separating the powder into little parcels, which I hid in holes along the rocks to keep it dry, carefully noting the whereabouts of each and every parcel.
That's much less dramatic.
It took 2 full weeks.
Oh, dear.
And I began a journal, carefully noting my thoughts and my actions day by day.
Do you still have it?
Yes.
Well, if the lecture tour goes well, you could publish it.
And as I sat there with my quill, the image of my father came to mind, sitting in his study, telling me how the balance sheet is one of the most definitive statements of a man's happiness or despair. And so I set out my own account of good and evil.
I do not understand.
Evil being, I am cast upon a horrible desert island void of all hope of recovery. And good being, but I am alive, and not drowned as all my ship's company was. Evil being, I have not clothes to cover me. Good being, but I'm in a hot climate, where if I had clothes, I could hardly wear them.
And how many hours a day did you spend making such pointless lists?
By noting carefully that there was scarce any condition in the world as miserable as mine, I realized that there was much to be thankful for. Take the expansive plain in front of my dwelling.
A reminder of your appalling solitude and helpless situation.
And as fine as any green in London. And having now brought my mind to relish my condition, and giving over looking out to sea to see if I could spy a ship, I began to apply myself to accommodate my way of living. My furniture was wanting, so I set about making a table and chair. I put up shelves all along one side of my cave to separate everything at large in their places.
I still think it would have been more dramatic if the lightning had hit the powder.
I thought about deliverance constantly still. But I had settled into a routine of life. Walking out with my gun, working, eating, sleeping. But somehow I had remained oblivious to my true condition. Until one day... Gulliver! Gulliver! Come here! Do you see what I see? Here. Barley, Gulliver. 12 ears of perfect green English barley. I've been wondering ever since these stalks shot out of the ground what strange leaf might appear, and how we may discover its usefulness to us. But that is more than useful. Not possible for barley here, with no seed sown at all. Gulliver, what does this mean? I dare not say it, Gulliver. I dare not, but there is no reason, no possibility of this happening, this prodigy of nature, other than Providence.
I don't want to interrupt your religious awakening, but I am becoming concerned about Barnes.
He has a gun. If anything had happened, we would have heard it.
And this barley was a miracle?
I went all over the island, peering in every corner and under every rock to see if I could find any more, but I could not.
God had made it grow for you?
I was overcome. I had hitherto acted upon no religious foundation at all, and yet here was proof of his assistance. And then I recalled shaking out a bag of chicken meal in that place where it had grown, and that some grains must have been in there.
Yeah, see, I'd leave that bit out. You don't want to get the audience thinking of miracles and gasping in wonder and then pull the rug out from under their feet.
But then it struck me that how could it be that 12 grains of barley should remain unspoiled when rats had destroyed all the rest? How could it be that I should throw it in this particular place in the shade of a high rock, where it sprang up immediately, whereas if I had thrown it anywhere else it would have been burnt up or destroyed? It was my hand, but was it my work?
So was this a miracle or something else?
I had been delivered, the only one. I had been handed the provisions of the ship.
And now you thought of religion, now you set up a shrine and begin to pray.
No, I didn't. I was busy trying to make a grindstone, for my tools were becoming blunt. It cost me as much thought as a judge would have bestowed upon the life of a man, but I did it. You see, first of all...
Robinson, you must learn what to say, what to leave out, and the order to put it in. Now, first of all, you were talking about religion.
Even after all this time, there are certain achievements.
Heckling has become something of a fashion.
But a grindstone! I could sharpen my tools. And if I saved the ears of corn from the barley, then I could in time supply myself with bread. And after the earthquake...
There was an earthquake?
Yes, a terrible thing. Rocks falling everywhere, the roof of my cave nearly collapsing, the sea covered with foam and froth.
Well, this is more interesting than a grindstone, believe me.
And then, immediately after that, there came a hurricane, which tore the trees from their roots and hurled them across the shore. And I knew that as soon as it was over, I would have to move. And now I had the tools to carry out the job, because I had made the grindstone.
Oh, no, Robinson,
Huge thing it was. Never seen anything like it in England. And the thing is, of course, that to start with, you need a wheel. A wheel!
And God helped you make this?
No, I made it all myself. Maybe he brought on the earthquake to try and terrify me, but I was oblivious to all meaning, unaware of the truth, until a terrible illness struck me. Lord, look upon me. Lord, pity me. Lord, have mercy on me.
Robinson.
Father, can it be you? You are bright, Father, as bright as flame. I cannot bear to look at you. My eyes are weak. See, Father, see, I have become all that you wanted. My home is simple, but I am settled, Father. There is order. Do you see? Oh, I'm cold, Father. I'm weak. Why has God done this to me, Father? What have I done to be thus used?
Wretch, dost thou ask what thou hast done? Look back upon a dreadful misspent life, and ask thyself what thou hast not done. Ask why it is that thou wert not so long ago destroyed. Why wert thou not drowned on thy first voyage? killed in the fight when the ship was taken by the Salih man of war? Or drowned here when all the crew perished but thyself? Dost thou ask, what have I done?
Oh, Father, no, please, no.
Seeing all these things have not brought thee to repentance, now thou shalt die.
Do not kill me, Father. Father, and lay down your spear. Oh, Father!
It was a dream?
It was not real, but it filled my heart with the greatest horror imaginable. And I knew that I could not succumb to it again, that I must find a cure, otherwise I would perish with terror. Where is the tobacco, Gulliver? Where is it? The Brazilians take no physic for their distempers but tobacco. I can think of no other thing that can save me. Where is my tobacco? Here. And this book underneath. A reproach. I have not so much as read one word from it since I've been here. Rum. That's what I need. I will steep the tobacco in rum and then take a dose of it. Oh, do you demand that I take you out too? Do you demand that I read from your pages? What will happen to me if I do not? What can befall me that is worse than the situation I am in? Oh, all right, I will. Call upon me in the day of trouble, and I will deliver, and thou shalt glorify me. They were the first words that I saw. And before I laid down that night, I did what I had never done in all my life. I knelt down and prayed to God. And then I drank the rum, and slept all the next day and night, and when I awoke, I found my spirits lively and cheerful, and so I had more of the rum and tobacco.
Well, he wouldn't want to relapse.
Those words had been waiting for me. Had I not been delivered from sickness? And yet, though God had delivered me, I had not glorified him. My soul, up to this moment, had sought nothing of God. And then I understood. It was deliverance from sin that I had to seek, that I must call for. Not deliverance from affliction. Do you understand?
Well, if we're able to escape our present affliction, then maybe we'll all have time to understand later.
Oh, if only I could take you there. If only I could take you to my island.
That is another idea, Robinson. Pilgrimages, excursions. Have your own real-life adventures on the Island of Despair.
But it was no longer an island of despair. And my strength having returned, I decided to go farther and farther into the island than I had ever done before. Gulliver, look! Grapevines! And melons lying here as though somebody has delivered them for us. Everything is so fresh, so green, so flourishing. Cocoa trees, lemons, oranges and limes. As though it has all been planted. This is mine, Gulliver. All mine. I am Robinson Crusoe of York, England, and I hereby state my right of possession as king and lord of all this country indefeasibly.
Could you add pineapples? You know how excited everybody in England has been by the introduction of pineapples.
The valley was so beautiful that I stayed there for weeks, building a country house, until the rains came and I went home, as I now called it, to my house on the coast, dragging huge bunches of raisins which I had dried in the sun, and carrying my parrot, Poll. I had now been on the island for over a year, marking the anniversary of my arrival on the 30th of September with a solemn fast.
Had you given up all hopes of being rescued?
I think so, yes. But I had little time to ponder such things. I carried out improvements to my properties.
As all good Englishmen must.
I discovered goats on the island and became a goat herd. I became a basket maker. I grew my crops of barley and corn. I taught my parrot to speak. I became a tailor. I made bread. A year it took from start to finish. The pots took even longer, with finding the clay and constructing a kind of kiln and trying to fire them. I daily read the word of God and gave hearty and humble thanks to him who had been pleased to discover to me that it was possible I might be more happy in this solitary condition than I should have been with all the pleasures of the world.
Robinson, there's a question hanging over this that all will ask.
Which is?
At what point did you realise that you were going mad?
Oh, I never went mad. I may have looked it with my long beard, my parasol, my goatskin breeches, and my ever-growing family of animals. But I never went mad at all. Loyal subjects! Every New Year, my father would stand up after dinner to take stock, to give an account of the year past and to gauge which way his life was travelling. And it is time, in my 15th year, to sum up my estate. My chief seat, much improved upon from its initial condition. My country habitation. Enclosures for my goats who breed with impunity. A dairy which provides me with 2 or 3 gallons a day and which will soon lead to the opening of a buttery. I even have a vineyard. Surely this is no less than a golden civilization. I might raise shiploadings of corn. I have turtles enough to serve every single one of the finest restaurants in England. I have timber enough to build a fleet of ships. Grapes enough to load those ships with wine when they are built. But all I can make use of is all that is valuable. If I kill more flesh than we can eat here, the vermin come. If I sow more corn, it must be spoiled. If I cut down excessive trees, they rot on the ground. I have money, gold and silver, but I would give it all for 6 pennyworth of English turnip seeds. Gulliver, Paul, each and every one of you, my beloved family, I am removed here from all the wickedness of the world. I have neither lust of the flesh, lust of the eye, nor the pride of life. I have no rivals to dispute sovereignty with, nor rebels amongst my subjects. I look now upon the world as a thing remote, a place I have lived in, but have now come out of.
Well, I'm glad you've cleared up the mental health issue for us, Robinson.
Listen, do you hear that?
Quick, give me a gun.
It is I, Barnes!
Oh, he's found a way out. Please let him tell us he's found a way out.
There's no way out. The Tartars have set up a dozen tents.
As though to besiege us.
Well, where's the sable skin?
I lost it, sir.
Well, go back and look for it.
You're bleeding.
It's nothing. I was attacked by 3 pagans. Sable was taken in the skirmish.
Wonderful. No way out and a good sable lost.
At least he has wood. It is getting cold.
And the fire will warm us as we hear Robinson's story.
Which sable did you give Barnes?
What does it matter?
Because when you suggested I hide the diamonds before we set off from Tobolski, I, very cleverly, stitched them inside one of these sable furs.
I did feel a bit of a lump.
Oh, I don't believe this.
So, Robinson, you were content to stay there, on the island, in exile for the rest of your life?
No. It was a forsaken condition, and I longed for human companionship. And then everything changed.
Can we concentrate on this for the moment, please? It is quite important.
What was it that happened?
Oh, it was that one! That was the sable! The diamonds have gone!
Shall I make the fire?
No! Let's freeze to death in celebration of this moment. No, wait. Let's not. Maybe I'm completely missing the point. Maybe this is another one of Robinson's providential signs, which will lead us all to a greater understanding of our present condition and how actually things aren't that bad at all. In fact, if we make a list, we'll see that the situation is really rather rosy.
It was early in the morning, and I was headed along the shore looking for turtle eggs.
Oh.
It cannot be. It cannot be. One, Gulliver. One single footprint. Why no other marks? If it is a man's and not a devil's, then where are the others? And how could a man have come here? Where is the vessel that brought him? Where? There is nothing. Nothing! But if I came here, then why should others not? If I make shelter, then why should others not find it? And take it for themselves, and destroy everything that I have worked for, everything I have done for 15 years. 15 years of solitude, of being banished from human society, circumscribed by the boundless ocean, believing that he who cast me ashore, he who offered not the remotest chance of escape, he who led me to believe in miracles and providence and barley, has delivered me. Oh, would this were simply a demon, laughing at me, laughing at my desperate foolishness, my belief that I have so carefully nurtured, just as I have nurtured my civilization. What does this mean? What does this mean?
It was your footprint, obviously.
No, it was too big.
Well, maybe the wind or the water had stretched it out somehow.
It was a perfect print of a heel, toes, and every part of a foot. And it was not mine.
So, did you go back to check?
Yes, I did. I realized when I got back to my castle, as I called it ever after, that it had to be mine, that nothing else made any sense. And yet it was not. And I was certain then that I would be destroyed, that savages could be anywhere. All of my thoughts and actions were diverted. I planted trees wildly around my dwelling. In 2 years I had a thick grove, and in 5 or 6 a wood so monstrous that it was perfectly impassable. I stationed my armory and was able to fire all of my guns in 7 minutes, practicing every day, although never actually letting fly for fear of the noise. I dispersed my goats to the most remote parts of the island and built enclosures for them, and all this labour was at the expense of the print of one man's foot.
And did any other being come upon you?
No, they did not.
So you were able to settle down once more to a routine of near-fruitless toil and after-dinner speeches to goats and parrots?
I was never settled in solitude again. For one morning, looking for a place to hide my goats, I came down to the shore on the southwest point of the island. No. No. It is not possible to express the horror of my mind at seeing what was laid before me. Skulls, hands, feet, and other bones of human bodies were spread across the shore. And my mind blazed in panic at the sight of this inhuman, hellish brutality.
That's lit. That should keep us warm.
Did you not prepare for war? To attack and destroy these barbarians?
No. I hid. For 2 years. And then one day, I came across a cave that could only be reached through a long tunnel, which I set up as my new home. And I would have been content to spend the rest of my time there, even to the last moment. But it was Gulliver that died first. I went out to bury him on the top of the hill in a terrible storm, and saw what I had been dreading.
All for one companion!
Oh, they are here! The savages! 2 men being dragged ashore and 30 others gathering round a fire. I can hide no more. I will ambush them, lie in wait, and in the middle of their bloody ceremony I will let fly. I have the weapons, Paul. Look, muskets, pistols, a fowling piece with swan shot of the largest size. I will be as brutal as the Spanish ravages of the Americas, killing 40 million if I have to.
This is good, Robinson. Now, the English public has a soft spot for hermits, but inherently they're dull. So get out there and take those savages on.
Then I considered that maybe it was wrong to kill them.
Oh.
What authority had I been given to pretend to be judge and executioner upon these men as criminals whom heaven had thought fit for so many ages to suffer unpunished?
No, they won't want prevarication at this point. Tell him, Barnes, it's gone on too long. We've had grindstones and 6 years of forestry. They're going to want some blood.
I crept towards where they were gathered.
Good, go on.
And saw one of the men who had been dragged ashore being killed.
How?
He was knocked down and cut open.
Ooh, maybe a touch too bloody.
This is how it happened. As the dead man fell to the floor, the other ran with incredible swiftness right past me and was chased by 3 men.
Could it be more?
No, I stepped out from my hiding place and hollered aloud to him. Come here! Quickly! Don't be scared! When he saw me, he was as much frightened as I. I beckoned for him to come back towards me, and advanced towards the 2 that had followed, knocking one down with the stock of my piece, and seeing that the other had a bow and arrow, had no alternative but to shoot him, killing him immediately. The poor savage who had been running from his pursuers now stood stock still. I hollered again to him, and made signs for him to come forward. Come on, man! It's all right! I will not hurt you! At this, he came close, kissed the ground, and then spoke in a language strange to my ear.
Are you going to kill me?
And though this language was most unusual to me, and I could not understand the words he said, they were the most wonderful sounds I had ever heard. The first to be made by another human being for above 25 years.
Do not kill me! Please! Do not kill me!
He beckoned towards my sword, which I held out to him as a sign of peace. And, taking it, he ran over to the native who I had struck with the butt of my gun, and with one single stroke cut off his head, picked it up by the hair, and the blood still pouring from its gaping neck, laid it gently at my feet.
You wait 20-odd years for a companion, and the first thing they do is present you with a severed head.
We buried the men, and then I took the native to my cave, and gave him bread and raisins and water, and showed him my bed, upon which he laid down and went to sleep.
You gave a savage your bed?
He was not just a savage, but a companion too. A comely and handsome fellow, perfectly well made, tall and well shaped. He had something very manly in his face, and yet there was a sweetness and softness there also, especially when he smiled. His hair was long and black, his forehead high and large, and he had a sparkling sharpness in his eyes.
You did take to him, didn't you?
And when he awoke, he came up to me, laid his head flat upon the ground, set my foot upon his head, and made all the signs of subjection and submission imaginable, to let me know how he would serve me as long as he lived.
Such a man is born to be a slave.
I did not think of him like a slave. And then I taught him my name.
Master.
Yes. It's good. And you... Friday.
Friday.
And this is Paul. Now, let's get you dressed for society. I have breeches and a waistcoat which should fit you nicely.
Friday?
The day of the week I had saved him.
And you trusted this man?
Yes.
You slept in the same room as he, knowing that at any moment he might rise from his sleep, slit your throat and gorge on your flesh?
I was suspicious at first. And when we crept down to the beach to see what had happened to those who had brought him ashore, and found great pieces of bodies left there, half-eaten, mangled and scorched, I was plunged into a terror, thinking that the sight would raise his blood and cause him to attack me.
Oh, it sounds as though there was still plenty left to eat on the shore.
Why had the savages come there, sir?
It seems that there had been a battle between two different tribes on another island, and the victors had brought over their prisoners to this island to feast upon.
So were any of them still there?
No. All the canoes had gone, and Friday and I were alone together. And for the next weeks and months he became a scholar, and I a teacher, as I taught him to speak, to fire a gun, and to bake bread. It was the pleasantest time of all the life I led in that place. For years I did not know there were goats on the island. Now I milk them every day with a companion. I have been provided with so much.
You are always being thankful, Master.
Friday, do you know who made you?
You want to know who is my father?
No. Who made the sea, the hills, the ground we walk on?
Benamuki.
And who is he?
He is very old. All things do say, "Oh," to him.
And you do this?
No. The old men, the Owokaki, go to the great mountains to say, "Oh."
This is priestcraft, Friday, the making of a secret religion in order to preserve the veneration of the people to the clergy. It is no better than the practice of the Roman Church. It is fraud, and if these old men in the mountains do meet with any answer, it must be with an evil spirit.
And this is what you believe?
It is the truth. My time here is proof of what I say.
I have a question too.
Which I shall endeavor to answer.
You say that your God is strongest of all.
He is your God too, an overruling, governing power directing providence.
And he is stronger than your devil.
Yes. But there is only one devil, God's enemy in the heart of men, using all his skill and malice to defeat the good designs of providence and to ruin the kingdom of Christ in the world.
But if God is so strong, more strong than the devil, why does he not kill the devil, so he is wicked no more? Why, Master?
You didn't know what to say, did you?
No. His questions and his desire for answers led me to musings far greater than any before. And from that point, we daily read the scripture and conversed as we worked together, coming to a true and profound understanding of the word of God and the gospel.
Oh, if only we could show him to the audience. There's nothing that makes the English feel more self-satisfied than a reformed savage. They're going to attack. They are. That is a rallying cry. Horns being blown by men with murderous intent is never a good sign. We have to do something.
We will fight to the death.
Will you stop saying that? I'm a merchant, not a soldier. Hey, that's it. We trade. The diamonds have gone, so they may as well have everything else.
I have something they may want.
Well, why didn't you say earlier?
In that bag.
Oh. What? Here?
Yes. Go on, open it.
I've never seen a ruby this big. Barnes, go and take it to them.
I would not.
I'd rather...
Wave a white flag or something.
I really don't think...
Just take it.
Please,
Go on.
Yes, sir.
Well, how will we know if he's successful? We should have told him to give us a sign, to holler or something. Maybe I should call him back. Where did you get a ruby that big?
Why did I think that by blinding a devil I could finally hope to see?
What are you on about, Crusoe?
How did you escape? You must tell me.
There is more to tell before we get to that.
Yes, but he just wants to know how you got off the island.
I have got this far. I will not be rushed now.
Oh, did you hear that, everyone? We've got a storyteller in here, so if you could just forego our slaughter until he's finished.
I was in my castle looking through my Bible when Friday came running in and told me that he had seen 3 canoes arriving, full of natives and a prisoner, a man with a beard. We took all the weapons that we could and crept through the woods near the creek where my first raft had arrived. Looking through my perspective glass, I saw plainly a white man with his hands and feet tied and a group of natives coming towards him.
Let fly, Friday! In the name of God, let fly! The canoes, Friday!
Don't let them escape! Shoot them! I will see to their prisoner!
What are you?
Christianos.
Your country?
Espanol.
He had been shipwrecked like me, but with many companions, on another island. But this I was to learn later when our war was over. Friday was a great warrior, pursuing the flying wretches who were either killed or went off in the boats, which a storm heading in must surely have capsized and saved us from a renewed invasion. One canoe stayed on the shore, with a native lying inside it, bound hand and foot. I freed him and asked Friday to come and tell the poor soul of his deliverance. And when Friday saw this creature, he laughed and wrung his hands, and tears streamed down his face.
Why?
It was his father.
Brilliant, Robinson. A reunion. You've managed to work in a reunion.
Yes.
And how did you feel seeing the father and son embrace?
I thought that my island was now peopled. And it was remarkable, too. I had but 3 subjects, and they were of 3 different religions. My man Friday was a Protestant, his father a pagan, and the Spaniard a papist. But, of course, I allowed liberty of conscience throughout my dominions. And now, with the arrival of a European visitor, I once again began to think of escape.
There are 15 of my companions on an island not far from here, all living at the mercy and discretion of the savages, who even use them as slaves.
With so many hands, we may build a ship large enough to carry us all away. Could they travel here?
If they steal the savages' canoes...
Then you must go back to them and tell them of this island.
I shall.
But first, make me a solemn vow that if your men are brought here, that they shall absolutely be under my leading as their commander and captain, and that they will swear upon the holy sacraments to be true to me.
You are my deliverer, and I will always swear to you whatever you ask of me.
Wait a minute. How are you going to feed all this lot? First of all, you're telling your animal family how it's pointless to produce more than you need. Then you've got a servant to feed. Then his father turns up out of the blue along with some Spaniard. And now you're talking about bringing over... how many?
15.
15 additional stomachs to sort out. Well, I hope you realised what you were getting yourself into.
That, my 27th year on the island, was a time of great endeavour and industry. We set to making a boat large enough to take 20 men, increased our herd of goats, stored rice, thrashed barley, and cured so many raisins that every branch bowed underneath their weight. And when all this work was done, I gave the Spaniard and Friday's father leave to go over to the island whence they had come, in the canoe that had brought them here. And then Friday and I waited. Until one day, whilst up on the hill, he saw a boat rowing into shore.
Master! There! Look! They have come!
But that is the wrong side of the island, Friday. They should be coming from that way. Look! Over there! Further out! A ship lying at anchor. That is an English ship! And the boat that is heading this way is an English boat!
So finally, you were about to be delivered from the island after all those years.
That is what I thought. But there was something wrong.
Oh, please don't introduce this note of anxiety, not in our present condition.
I took my guns and ran down to the shore, expecting to see friendly faces. But instead I came across a violent scene of mutiny. I hid behind a tree and watched as 3 men were bound and abused. Their assailants, 8 in all, walked off into the woods, allowing me to creep nearer to the prisoners to inquire of their situation. Are you English?
Who is that?
Do not be surprised. This island may have seemed to you as an empty and desolate place, but it is peopled, sir. I am an Englishman who has been here 27 years, and with my companion I offer you help.
Our condition has passed her, and I apologize for disturbing your peace. For now that these men who've brought us here have arrived on your island, there is nothing so certain but that they will kill you.
Won't it ever end?
Listen. There's a horse approaching.
Maybe Barnes has been successful.
What is that? Something has been thrown in. There. A pouch.
If it's the diamonds, I'll give 2 of them to Barnes. He'll have deserved it. Well, maybe just 1.
Open it and see.
Oh!
What is it?
I don't know. You have it.
It's a heart. Huh? It's Barnes's heart.
Oh!
Are you sure?
The ruby has been pushed inside it.
Oh, so you get your ruby back, but I'm still without the diamonds.
Oh, but this heart were mine. Though it would not be like this. It would be black and shriveled.
Why, Robinson? What do you mean?
In episode 1 of Robinson Crusoe and His Farther Adventures by Daniel Defoe, Crusoe was played by Tim McInerney, The Merchant by Jonathan Tafler, The Russian Prince by Adrian Grove, and Friday by Ben Onwukwe. Alison Pettit played Mary, David Timpson, Crusoe's father, and Stephen Critchlow, Barnes. Robinson Crusoe and His Farther Adventures was dramatised by Andy Barrett and directed in Birmingham by Peter Leslie Wilde. Robinson Crusoe and His Farther Adventures by Daniel Defoe. Dramatised by Andy Barrett, with Tim McInerney as Crusoe. Episode 2.
I defy each and every one of you. You are pagans and we will fight to the death.
Tell him to stop, Robinson, please. For some reason he listens to you.
Alexander Nikolaevich, the Tartars are not attacking us. They have ridden back to their huts.
They have ripped out the heart of your servant and thrown it to us.
Yeah, with your enormous ruby stuffed inside. I mean, look at it. It's disgusting. Who wants to put their fingers in that?
I will. Such an evil thing must not remain lodged in such a pure and faithful heart.
How can you call something so valuable evil? Yeah, oh, make sure you wash your hands. I don't want the furs we do have left being soiled. Any sign of a mark these days and they try to knock you down in price.
We should bury the heart.
No, we must take it back to England.
We're not going to get back to England. We're going to die here in a small wood in some freezing Muscovite backwater.
I have made a promise to Alexander Nikolaevich's father that I will escort him safely to his friends in Vienna. It is the only thing that can bring me peace now, to finally follow a father's wishes.
Yes, you said fathers and sons, sons and fathers, over and over and over.
But it has been my foolishness, William, my blindness that has brought all this upon us. What force made me leave the island a second time?
And can we please stop talking about islands?
For my work. And not just mine, but the work of Providence. Work that I was to oversee, a duty that had been bestowed upon me. Well, that must be clear to all. To everyone but me.
You must continue with your story. My father said I would learn much from you. Please, lay aside the heart and tell me what happened next. You were in great peril.
He was shipwrecked on an island. He spent some time there, he left.
And went back again.
Yeah, well, so you keep saying, but you haven't even left the first time yet.
So, we must find out how he did.
All right, go on then if you must. But remember, if we do ever get out of here, then you are telling this story to a paying audience and I am getting half. It's the least I deserve after you've lost my diamonds for me. The diamonds with which I was to retire a rich and happy man.
You were on the shore. The sun blazed down, the sand being skimmed by a delicate wind.
You should pay attention to this, Robinson. It's not even his first language, and he's still more poetic than you.
An English ship sat out at sea, home to a band of mutineers, a group of whom lurked only moments away in the woods, whilst 3 victims of this crime lay before you. The captain of the unhappy ship had raised his weary and bloodied head and told you that these mutinous men were murderers to the last, and nothing was so certain.
But that they would kill me, yes.
And what was your reply?
If I venture upon your deliverance, and we recover the ship, will you carry me and my man to England, passage free?
I will, but I fear there is no hope of escape.
Trust in Providence, take these weapons, and be governed by my orders.
Here we go again. You giving the orders, assuming command any chance you get.
I unbound the 3 men, and we crept into the woods. The 8 mutinous rogues lay there asleep, and 2 of them, awaking upon our arrival, were told to surrender to our command or be killed immediately. When they agreed to become part of our troop, we gave them weapons, told them to keep watch on the others, and began to ruminate on our actions. And then another man stirred. Who fired first, I do not know, but within moments all of the men, apart from the 2 who had joined with us, had managed to kill or wound each other, and those who were still living were taken as prisoners to the cave where I had once hidden.
The work of Providence.
All of bewildered men not knowing how to fire their pistols properly.
But this was just the beginning. Those mutineers still on board were expecting their fellows to have returned, and getting no response from their signal, sent another boat ashore with no less than 10 men on her. But my army was ready for them.
Army?
We had the captain and his 2 men, the 2 mutineers who had first stirred and joined with us, Friday, my lieutenant, and myself, Generalissimo.
Well, why have an island to yourself if you can't be Generalissimo when the time comes? All right, this is your moment, Robinson. Think of your future audience. A speech. You need a rousing speech.
I say to you that God's providence has singled these men out to be delivered into our hands. I say to you that this island is a place where goodness will prevail. For depend upon it, that every man that comes ashore is our own, and shall live or die as we decide. And at this, we ran into the woods.
You can't make a speech like that and then run away.
He is right.
We were not running away. We were using the island and all that I knew of her in our campaign.
This was a military strategy.
Yes. We split up, with Friday going to the west and I to the east, and hollering out to the invading force as though we were their fellows, we drew them deeper and deeper into the belly of my island. Over here! Through the trees! Such a sight as you have never seen!
And here, by the waterfall, what treasures there are!
What is this place we have come to?
'Tis enchanted, and full of devils and spirits.
As though it is a living thing
Do
itself.
not talk so.
Then where are the others? We heard their voice and have followed it. Or we're drawn there, rather. And now 'tis gone.
Maybe they found something. They talked of treasure.
We should leave while we can. I will call the rest of the men and we shall set off.
No, Hooper is right. Let us all get back to the ship before it is too late.
You will do what I say, Roods. I'm in charge now.
Will, look around you. There's nothing more to be done here.
If you set 1 foot inside that boat, I will put a bullet straight between your eyes.
And at that moment, I instructed the captain to call out to them, to tell them that the island was under the rule of a governor, that they were surrounded by his army of 50 men, that if they did not submit immediately, they would be killed by the most dreadful volley that ever man saw.
And did they submit?
They did, for their imaginations were in turmoil. Will Atkins, the ringleader, was taken to the prison, whilst the others were told that they would receive a pardon in return for retaking the ship. For 3 hours, Friday and I sat staring at the sea, hearing the battle flare in the distance, until finally the signal for victory was given. I sank down to the ground, unable to speak, or to comprehend what this meant.
You were free.
Yes.
Well, you can't leave it like that. After all that's gone before. Shipwrecks, earthquakes, cannibals, war. I mean, jump up and down or something. Give Friday a hug. At least throw your hat in the air. Or your parrot.
What did you do?
I prayed.
Oh.
We prayed. And then I went to my palace and dressed myself in the finest threads I could find.
Why?
Because I was governor.
Oh, I thought that was just part of your plan. To fool the mutineers, make them think that the island had some powerful figure running things.
I was governor, William. Governor of an island that I was to hand over.
I see. Of course. Sometimes I think we English won't be happy until we're governing the whole world.
I told the captives that I was to leave for England, and that they could either come in irons to be tried there for mutiny, or take their fate where they were. Will Atkins and 4 others decided to stay, and for that evening I spoke to them not as prisoners, but as fellows who had been offered a chance of redemption, giving them all the advice that I could. And then I headed out for the ship, taking with me only Friday, a goatskin cap, my umbrella, and my parrot.
And the gold?
Yes. And thus I left the island, the 19th of December in the year 1686, having been upon it 28 years, 2 months, and 19 days.
And there we have it. The end.
But there is more. We know he went back. He said so.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he did, but it's never as interesting the second time around.
He has said how he should not have left the island a second time.
Well, if he doesn't go there a second time, he won't have to leave it a second time.
The story is not finished.
He is right. Listen. The Tartar camp is silent now.
Do you think they've left? Or are they listening too? Maybe you've enthralled them, Robinson. Maybe they're as disappointed as our young friend here that you've finished.
He has not finished.
They will be waiting until morning to attack. It is late. We're all tired, them and us. Do you want to sleep?
No, cannot.
Nor I.
Why did you return, Robinson? After all that you'd been through, I do not understand. Was there nobody back in England for you?
I had been absent for 35 years.
And the woman who you have mentioned? The one who begged you not to go, that you promised to look after?
Mary. She was the first person I called upon.
Are you a phantom arisen from my unhappiness?
I have been cast away on an island, Mary, where I thought I would end my days. You tried to tell me what would happen if I sailed again, but I did not listen. You knew because your soul is innocent and pure and good, and mine is not.
Look at you. You were young when you left, as was I. Your face is so worn by the weather. And you are so strong now.
I've worked hard for many years. I'm sorry, Mary, that I could not reach you. I tried to tell you in my thoughts.
Your father is dead, Robinson. You missed him by a month. I went to visit him as he lay on his deathbed.
Did he mention me?
Yes.
Did he forgive me?
I think he would have, if he had seen you.
I feel more lonely now, Mary, than I ever did in that desolate place. There I was a king. Here I have nothing.
No, Robinson, you are a wealthy man. The plantation thrived. Your partner made a reasonable offer for your share, which I accepted on your behalf. I've not spent a penny of it. God knows I have found need to.
Why has Providence been so kind to me? It is as though I have lived through a chain of wonders,
And you will stay here now, and we can talk together again, like we used to.
To begin with, I settled in London, renting a house near to Mary, with Friday as my manservant. I tried to make acquaintances, taking tea and playing cards. But after so much solitude, I found the attention stifling.
So this is Mr. Crusoe, the man who lived in the midst of flesh-eating savages.
Is it true that you had to fight wild animals with your bare hands?
I find it remarkable that you still have the power of speech.
And the savage here, does he understand what we're saying?
The world is a totally different one to that you left, Mr. Crusoe. You managed to miss the plague, the Great Fire of London, the findings of Mr. Newton, and the entire reign of Charles II. But I have written about much of it in my diary. Maybe we can exchange our journals, though my eyesight is not what it was.
They were interested in you, Robinson.
But they did not understand. They would not listen. Friday and I were simply as ponies on display. They wanted to hear nothing but of shipwrecks and cannibals. They were as ignorant as I before the visitation in my sleep, not wanting to hear of the island's true meaning.
The island may have many meanings. You can only tell your story and let others say what it all adds up to.
I began to withdraw from society, to converse only with Mary and Friday. I felt a need to escape the town more than I ever had of my island. And so I moved to Bedford and bought a farm, bringing Mary to live with me. And I tried to forget my nation. I did. I tried to make my life anew.
Hang them! Hang them all! Hang them!
Robinson! Robinson!
Father! Father! Forgive me!
No, Robinson, it's me. Look at you. You're sopping.
I saw it again, Mary. Like a vision. The reprobates are left on the island, setting fire to all, burning it, everything I achieved. And I, as governor, standing up on the hill and pointing down, sending them to their death.
When will all this stop, Robinson? You dream of it every night.
And my imagination runs upon it all day. My discourse is becoming tiresome. People are beginning to move aside when they see me. Even the vicar has stopped visiting.
You have talked him into submission with your views on providence and sin.
It's only Bunyan who will sit and talk with me and understands what I say.
Robinson, it is late. You must sleep. You must try and forget the island. You are settling here now. It will take time, but it is what you need to do.
Never had such a good woman had the misfortune to meet one so incapable of reason. But I understood that the island must stay only in my thoughts, that having lived upon this earth for 60 years and more, that wisdom must finally prevail. And so I committed myself to the task in hand, working side by side with Friday.
A cow is easier to milk than a goat. Look at all of that.
Oh, maybe I could send a small herd over to the island. A bull and 3 or 4 cattle. If they have cows, it may be easier to make cheese. I found it near impossible with the goat's milk. The butter was fine, but the cheese was terrible.
Those men will not be able to care for any beast. The goats will all have escaped by now, and the men starved to death.
Unless the Spaniard and your father were successful. Do you wonder if they returned?
Yes.
And do you despise me for bringing you here?
He was an old man. He did not have long to live. And now, I drink tea and kneel down in church.
And milk cows much better than I.
It's the way you look at them before you begin.
I have never told you this, Friday, but you have taught me so much. Perhaps more than anyone. And yet it saddens me what I have learned.
I do not understand.
You and I have been given the same capacities for doing good, the same sense of gratitude and sincerity, and the same sentiments of kindness and obligation as each other. And yet, compared to you, I have been so mean in my use of them.
You are a good man.
Robinson, my nephew is here.
And then the devil himself arrived, wearing coloured stockings and a tricorn hat.
Gentlemen farmers should not be milking their own cows.
Then I am glad I'm not a gentleman farmer.
And is this the savage that you have tamed, Mr. Crusoe?
Friday is my servant, and as civilized a man as any I've ever met.
Then I am pleased to meet you, sir.
And I, you.
Mary says that you dwell endlessly on the island that you have escaped from.
Nephew, why don't you ask Robinson to show you the new flock of sheep?
I find that most interesting. How a man can begin to love his cage.
They are of a rare and valuable breed.
I am heading for the Brazils next month. If you will go to sea with me, I will engage to land you upon your island.
Nephew, I told you that we were not to speak of this.
But surely Mr. Crusoe must wonder what his new world has become. What man on earth would not?
And knowing that I had promised Mary to put all foolish notions of the island out of my head, I prepared for the voyage, feeling as young again as I did when I first set sail.
Do we really need more hinges, Master?
I have come to realize that the hinge is one of the cornerstones of civilization. And we should take gunpowder.
There may be no one there.
It only takes two to make a society, and one other to threaten it. We must be prepared. I've already recruited men with skills who may wish to stay ashore. 2 carpenters, a smith, a tailor, and a very ingenious fellow who shall be our jack-of-all-trades. Oh, look at these kettles. Get 3 of these, Friday. No, make it 10.
Oh, I think that Mary's nephew will need a bigger ship.
And were there people there, on the island? Had those men destroyed everything as you had dreamt?
I had to travel on the seas first.
Oh, please, no more prevarications and endless incidental adventures. But what we want to know is were there people there, and had they all become like you? A beach full of men with parrots making grindstones.
We set off on the most glorious day. And certain I was doing as intended, I was confident that my bad luck had now ended.
All hands on deck! All hands on deck!
Now, why didn't I see that coming?
But this time, it was not our ship that was to suffer calamity, though we were to sail amongst it. Within a few days of leaving England, we came across a great ship on fire in the middle of the ocean. The furious orange flames seemed to tear apart the sky as the smoke blocked out the stars above, and the crew and passengers leapt overboard to escape the terrible heat. It wasn't until the morning that we spied a boat heaving with survivors, and took in 64 men, women, and children. We carried our new passengers out of our way to Newfoundland, except for one who wished to travel onwards with us. I was unsure whether to agree to his request at first.
Why?
Firstly, he was a papist. Secondly, a papist priest. And thirdly, a French papist priest. But he was most persuasive in his desires, and for the next nights, he and Friday and I spent our time in reasoned argument and shared joy at our awareness of the will of God. But even as we spoke of his good works, we were to confront yet more tragedy. An English ship, bound home from the Barbados, blown out to sea before she was ready to sail, leaving the captain and half the crew on shore. Her main topmast and foremast were down, and the crew, mad with hunger, having had no bread nor flesh for 11 days. It was the priest and I that first went on board.
Is there anyone inside?
Yes. And they may need you, if it is not too late already. The mother was dead. The son lying on the floor, faintly alive, with a piece of old glove in his mouth, having eaten the rest of it. But worst of all was the sight of the maid. The poor young woman, overcome with grief and exhaustion, had fallen and cracked her nose wide open, and with no other possibility of salvation, had gathered her blood in a bowl for sustenance.
Did she die?
No. Both the maid and the young boy were revived by our ship's surgeon and came aboard with us as we sailed on.
Where they were witnesses to the joyful moment of landing. Flags, excitement, the happy crowds cheering your arrival.
We saw not a soul.
Oh, this is hopeless.
So they had all died, either through murdering each other, starvation, or some terrible tropical disease.
Do you see what you've done with the mood? You could be the greatest returning hero since Achilles or Alexander. You could paint such a picture of triumph, and instead we're plunged into this.
We were not even sure we had come to the right island, having landed first on several others.
Oh, now you just seem confused.
And then Friday noticed our old habitation, and he and I ran towards it.
Robinson! Robinson! You have returned! I did not think I would see you again.
And I'm sorry that I was not here to greet you when you returned also.
Comrades! Comrades! This is the man who saved me from the savages, who is the cause of you all being here. Bend your knees to our monarch, the founder of our nation. We must prepare a feast. Let nothing be spared.
So you were a returning hero.
Now all we need is for Friday's father to turn up for a tearful reunion.
Which he did.
What?
But I thought he was an old man, that he didn't have long to live, that Friday did not expect to ever see him again.
Which made the moment even more tender, and bade me understand once again how God rewards the good. The guns, quick!
If any of you move, I shall shoot the boy!
Ignore him.
Do as he says.
Good advice, Robinson. Maybe you're finally managing to curb your impulsive nature. Can I come in and warm myself by your fire?
Kirk.
It's a very cold night. Good evening, everyone.
Who is this?
A Scottish merchant I met in Pekin, who joined me on the caravan to Siberia.
And what adventures we had, Robinson.
Has there ever been anybody who's travelled with you that's managed to pass the time in a relaxing and uneventful manner?
Why are you here?
The ruby.
What do you mean?
I know you have it. I saw you pick it up and put it in your pocket when you destroyed the great Chamchi Thaungu at Notzioski. I was planning to take it that night, but you rode off before I had a chance.
How did you find me?
I told the Tartars of Kalmuck about your actions, gave them a coat of yours that I had in my possession, and followed them at a distance.
They tracked down Robinson using only a coat.
The Kalmuck Tartars are the greatest hunters on earth. They can hide in the wind, strike quicker than lightning, and know whether a man is telling the truth or not by the smell of his breath.
You never mentioned anything about this Chamchi
Thaungu.
Yeah.
The ruby. Where is it?
Here. Take it.
It's a bit bloody.
Look at that. How can anyone see evil in that?
What are you going to do now?
I am going to sit down with this bottle of whiskey, and we shall hear you explain how we all come to be in this situation.
I have been trying to. But it is important to start from the beginning, to make sense of it all, not to hurry. If there is anything I have learnt, it is to be patient.
Then carry on, please.
You have a knack, Robinson. You really do. If everybody's so willing to hear your story, we should be able to visit every town and city in England. If only we live.
This Spaniard, he was the one that you had saved when savages from another island had brought him over to your island as a prisoner?
With Friday's father, yes. And who had rowed back to where he had been held captive to bring his comrades to my nation. And now that he had returned, he had become the acting governor in my absence. As we sat at the welcoming feast, it was he that told me all that had occurred since I was last there. But first, I had to tell those present of my intentions. Men! It is a delight greater than any other for me to be here amongst you on my island. But I must make myself clear to all. I am not here to rescue you. To take you back to your families and loved ones. No, I am here to establish you. I have brought with me craftsmen, tools, and materials.
We want to go home.
To help you build up this nation, to make this island strong, secure, and self-reliant.
I expect that went down well. Did he mention the hinges?
Some were more disappointed than others. But as the goods I had procured for them were brought off the ship, they began once again to cheer my presence, and the acting governor told me of his story and of my nation's history.
We were gone 3 weeks, having to steal canoes from the savages to bring us back here. When we arrived, you were gone, and in your place there were 3 Englishmen waiting, led by a man called Will Atkins.
'Twas he that engineered the mutiny that led to my deliverance. I pleaded with the captain for clemency, certain the island would redeem him. Did he tell you of my instructions, that you were to be in sole command?
He told me that you had given him and his 2 men possession of the island, that he welcomed us in friendship, but if we were to set up habitation, we would have to pay him rent and do all that he asked.
This is not what I demanded of him.
No matter. Seeing that there were 16 of us and only 3 of them, he decided not to pursue the claim, but asked instead if he and his men could live with us.
I left 5 Englishmen behind.
The other 2 had set off on their own, pitching their tents on the north side of the island and planting corn and peas, aiming to work hard and establish themselves honestly.
And you lived with these 3 rogues?
Very sociably for some time, even though they did nothing but ramble about the island shooting parrots and then expected us to provide their suppers for them.
And this you did too?
It was my duty to keep the island free from enmity, chaos, and bloodshed.
I thank you for your wisdom, and that my nation has been a happy one.
But Robinson, it has not. Not at all. You see, one day Atkins went to visit the 2 honest Englishmen and tried to get rent from them. They laughed at his impudence, and in return, their dwelling was burnt down and their crops destroyed.
I should have stayed to oversee the handover, to establish everything properly. Did nobody respond to this provocation?
The 2 honest Englishmen came to us and insisted that we execute justice. That as the island belonged to an Englishman, we should follow English law and execute the offenders. I was uncertain, and so called a peace conference in the castle, as we named your old dwelling, with both parties present.
You should not plant or build upon the island. It is none of your land.
Yes, but they must not starve.
They should be servants and work for us.
They are not bought with your money. So how can you make them servants?
The island is ours.
Do we need talk of possession? Isn't our task to help each other thrive?
Governor Crusoe has given it to us, and no man has anything to do here but on our say-so.
By the same rule, we must be your servants too.
Well, maybe if you do not mind your manners, then one day you will be.
Has he told you how he proposed that we English join together and murder all the Spaniards when you were in your sleep?
And what have you to say to that, Signor Atkins?
It's true. And we may plot to do it still.
And what have we done to you that you would kill us? What would you get by killing us? What must we do to prevent you killing us? Tell me, Will Atkins, must we kill you, or you kill us?
I was mistaken in my judgment yet again.
I did not order their execution. An Englishman had saved my life, and so it was only right for me to do the same. They were exiled to the remotest part of the island in the northeast and given corn and goats and tools to help them survive. But they were unable to provide for themselves.
I went by the vineyard of the Slothful, and it was all overgrown with thorns.
Yes, and eventually being brought low by their own indolence, they asked for one of the canoes that my men and I had sailed across in, saying that they would rather take their chances on reaching another island to see if they could make their fortunes there. And so we called out Bon Voyage and drank a toast to their departure, and no man ever thought of seeing them again. Then, 3 weeks later, I received a visit I was not expecting.
Oh.
Women?
5 of them. From 17 to 40 years of age.
And how did you find them?
We bought them. From an island. The savages there sold them to us.
In return for what?
1 hatchet, 1 knife, 7 bullets, and an old key.
And do you intend to use the women as servants or as wives?
As both.
And so you decided to bring them back here?
Of course. And now all our problems are solved.
Atkins, I am not going to restrain you from it. You are your own master as to that. But any man who takes any of these women as a wife shall take but one, and none else shall touch her.
Why?
You leave the island, having added nothing to it, and then return bringing the gifts of lust and jealousy. My task is to alleviate that as best I can.
They agreed to the governor's demands, and each took a wife.
But there were 5 women.
The 2 other Englishmen took 1 each too.
How did they choose?
They drew lots, and it turned out that the 2 honest fellows got the 2 worst wives, and the 3 rogues the cleverest and most ingenious women you could ever hope to meet.
How providential.
Were the Spanish not envious?
Each man said he had a wife at home.
And the English didn't.
No.
Now that's going to cause arguments, Robinson, amongst the audience.
Why?
Well, because you've made the Englishmen look ignoble compared to the Spaniards. I can hear the ladies now. See, you're all the same. I mean, can't you make the Spanish the ones that take the women and the English the abstainers? Say something about their hot Mediterranean blood being stirred to a fury in the tropical climate.
What audience are you talking about?
Our plan, if we were to escape tonight, was to take Robinson's story across England.
And you think people would be interested in his tale?
Oh, yes. In fact, you should consider it as well. You look like a man who's had a life of excitement.
I have my fortune here.
Which could become part of the story. The Ruby of Chithaungu. Exactly. A title like that, full of mystery and intrigue, could quadruple its value and give you unrivaled notoriety, especially amongst the ladies.
It is Robinson that we are meant to be listening to.
Robinson, please continue. His technique needs work, but do pay attention. We can all learn.
Within no time, the island became a place of 3 towns. The rogues in one with their wives, the 2 honest fellows with their wives in another, and the Spaniards and Friday's father in my original settlement, carrying on the main part of the colony.
And from then on, all was well?
Oh, no. Not at all.
They're getting nearer, sir!
Keep firing! Keep firing! To the death!
One day, a canoe landed on the island, bringing with it a group of natives who explored the woods looking for food. One of the group became lost. The canoe left without him, and he was taken prisoner by our people. A council was called, and the majority thought that for the sake of security, the natives should be executed. But the governor would have none of this, and the native became a slave and part of the colony. Some months later, the canoe returned, and the slave, being out alone herding goats, was able to escape.
And so the island society was no longer a secret.
It was not. All was under threat.
Clemency can be an expensive business.
So, the newly established nation had to forge itself, as all must, through war.
Why do they keep coming? Can they not see what is happening to them? Have they no fear?
Behind you, Governor!
Huh?
Governor!
Atkins saved the governor's life, as 250 savages fought 17 Spaniards, 5 English, Friday's father and the women. It was an heroic but terrible victory.
And you weren't there?
No.
The most exciting bit in the story? An heroic battle between a small troop of settlers and the savage hordes, and you're milking cows in Bedford?
And when the battle was over, the governor, Atkins and the others came upon the shore, and finding the savages in great disorder among their dead and wounded, did dreadful execution among them with gun and hatchet, as a storm raged in the heavens above, and those that had escaped to sea were crushed by the violent waters. For days they said the fish they caught tasted only of blood.
Were they all killed?
No. Some of the natives managed to escape and ran up into the hills, but they were picked off day by day. Until the governor decided that there had been enough bloodshed and set aside a reservation, giving the 30 or so natives that were still alive corn to plant and bread for subsistence. Some months after this, I came back to the island. A land now of many nations and many tongues and many ages. A land that had grown beyond all expectation, from the wreckage of a ship and the work of Providence.
You must have been amazed at what you saw.
Most men die wondering what their work may lead to. I was lucky enough to walk amongst it, carrying out a state visit to all of the island's towns, where finally I came to a house the like of which I had never seen before. So wonderful was it in its construction. Will, I've thought about you often in my absence.
I had heard that you had returned.
And are any of these your children?
I have a son.
This house is a marvel. It's unlike any other on the island.
I have been helped in its building by the natives from the reservation. They are far more ingenious than we.
There was a day, Will, early on in my time here, when I saw barley appear out of the ground. This moment is much the same.
What do you mean?
We will talk to each other about this when we are older men still, not now. I am here to tell you that I have a priest with me, who I saved from a burning ship. He says you have all the institutions of society, but not yet of religion, and that you are each to marry your wives in a proper ceremony under the eyes of God.
Then that we will.
And that before he will agree to such a thing, that you are to teach them religion.
How should I teach my wife when I know nothing myself?
You must tell her that there is a great being that made all things, that rewards the good and punishes the bad.
But she will tell me that it cannot be true, since I am not punished and sent to the devil that have been such a wicked creature.
God is merciful and reserves damnation to the general day of retribution. Righteous men receive not their reward, nor wicked men their punishment, till they come into another world.
How can any man be easy in a condition that must certainly end in eternal destruction? How much can be forgiven, Robinson?
That I do not know.
I often think I should cut my throat to put an end to the terror of it.
You think you are able to sin beyond the power of divine mercy?
Can you tell me I cannot? Can you? My father, Robinson, was a clergyman who would have taught me well, but I despised all instruction and correction, and by my brutish conduct cut the thread of all my father's comforts and shortened his days. For I broke his heart by the most unnatural return for the most affectionate treatment a father ever gave.
And you have ended here on this island.
'Tis a nation now, and you its king.
There are others who will be living here. A young boy and a maid we saved from starvation.
I will look after them. And are you to stay?
I do not think so. Here, take this.
A Bible.
I have carried it with me for many years, ever since my father came to me in my sleep and pointed me to the path which has led to all of this.
And what happens to the island?
I give you all a right to the whole possession and inheritance of the respective plantations or farms, with their improvements, to you and your heirs, reserving all the rest of the island as my own property. As to the government of it, I'm not capable of giving you better rules than you are able to give yourselves. Only promise me to live in love and good neighbourhood with one another.
I promise.
Goodbye, Will. And God bless. And thus, having provided for my people, and having seen how the island was established, I left once again.
And you say you should not have. Why?
Atkins was trying to tell me something. We had both sinned against our fathers. I had been delivered on that island, and so had he. And yet I left again. I tore myself away from my people and my kingdom, from what had proved to be a place of salvation. Why would anyone do such a thing?
You had Mary waiting for you, Robinson. You had a farm to look after.
I do not think it was these things. But whatever the reason, my folly was to be punished in a most terrible way, almost immediately. It was Mary's nephew who first spotted them.
There are 1,000 canoes approaching. The sea is black with them.
We had left the island and sailed for 3 days when the canoes came up alongside the ship. I had all the men armed and ready. But the natives did not seem to mean us any harm, and so I asked Friday to go out onto the deck and call aloud in his language to see if he could find out their inclination. Whether they understood him or not, I do not know. But as soon as he called to them, 6 of them stooped down and showed us their naked backs.
What are they doing, showing their backs like that? What's going on?
It may be an act of defiance, or a challenge.
Or contempt.
They're going to shoot, Master! They're going to shoot! Let's get back, Friday! Quick, man, get back!
He was hit by 1,000 arrows. There was hardly a place on his body that was not pierced and weeping blood. And that is how the most grateful, faithful, honest and affectionate servant that ever man had met his death. We buried him at sea. I was to give him most of what I had if he had outlived me.
What do you mean?
You were going to make him your heir?
Yes.
Well, I wouldn't mention that, Robinson. I think that this Friday figure, if handled properly, could take hold of the public imagination. But turning him into a man of property and wealth is another thing entirely. Especially in the provinces.
So your punishment for leaving was the death of your friend?
Yes. And within days, I had been cast away again.
Oh, no, please, not another island. It's the law of diminishing returns, Robinson.
It was not an island. And the storm that cast me away was not a storm of nature, but one of inhumanity. We had come ashore at Madagascar, and one of our men had been involved in an incident with a local girl. He was found hanging naked from a tree, his throat so cut that his head was half off. I have never seen such a sight as the massacre that ensued from the fury of the crew. You would not think it possible what our civilized souls are capable of. Men, women, and children were clubbed to death as they escaped from their burning huts, stumbling over the heaps of bodies covered with blood and dust. I tried to make them stop, but my instructions were as nothing. For the next days and weeks I harangued them, telling them that God would surely blast this voyage. And not wanting to hear my curse anymore, they told Mary's nephew that they refused to carry me further, and left me stranded in Bengal.
Were you surrounded by tigers?
Some would say so, for I took up lodging in the house of an Englishwoman where several merchants lived, one of whom I struck up an acquaintance with, and who one day sat me down and uttered the words which have so often tempted me.
Robinson, I have a proposition for you.
Which is what merchants do. And thank the Lord for it. I mean, imagine how dull and flat this world would be without a proposition.
He and I travelled across the world for 6 years, setting down in Siam, Saskan, Sumatra, Borneo and Manila. And then I finally did what I had dreamt of as a young child, and became the owner and captain of a ship.
Your luck was changing.
What do you mean I bought a pirate ship?
I've just been told. You were fooled. Every Dutch and English ship on these seas is intent on seizing this craft and executing all within her without any ceremony or process of law. No wonder she was so cheap.
Oh, they seemed like honest men. Well, can't we hang out a white flag as a sign of parley?
No! It's beyond that. The gunner's mate suggested we hide as best we can.
We're a ship in the middle of the ocean.
How can we hide?
He said that we must head for the Gulf of Nankin, keeping to rivers wherever possible and take our chances.
It was a treacherous journey, but eventually we landed at Nankin, and I found myself stranded further away from England than at any time in my life. We sold the goods we had, and I travelled up to Peking.
Where you met me?
Yes, and where we joined a caravan of merchants making their way to Muscovy.
So many merchants.
The world is full of them, and will get much fuller still.
400 horses and upwards of 120 men set out on that journey.
We had 18 camels worth of goods.
Raw silk and tea.
Calicos and damasks.
Nutmegs and cloves.
We crossed over the Great Wall of China and witnessed how much human endeavour is concerned with the defending of ourselves, and how we live in the constant snare of the fear of man.
We rode through the vast wild desert of Grand Tartary, crossing swords with marauding bandits.
We were given a guard of 200 soldiers as we passed over the frontier of the Chinese Empire into the lands of Muscovy.
And then launched into the greatest piece of solid earth that is to be found in any part of the world.
And in every town that we passed through, there were idols and pagan temples.
See, you make a fine double act. Get us out of here alive, Kirk, and I promise you a third of our takings and a nice little cushion for the ruby.
And then we came to Norzioski.
And this thing called
Chithaungu.
I would not honour it with a name.
You speak as if it was evil itself.
Yes. A huge, diabolical idol dressed in the most filthy manner. A great Tartar bonnet on its head, with 2 horns growing through it. Never had I seen such a terrible thing.
Robinson, what is it? Why do you look at it like that?
Because it fills my soul with horror.
It is just a piece of wood.
This is not just wood. Look at those eyes. Look what lives in those eyes.
Oh, come on, man. You're tired.
How can anyone worship such a thing? How can such ignorance be allowed to prosper, to exist even? Look at these fools lying around it, licking the earth.
They do us no harm.
So we are to accept it, to ride away. We who know the truth, who know what can be achieved if blind superstition is cast aside.
We must go.
I have seen it, Kirk. What God really is. I have seen it. I know. And then there is this.
You must not touch it!
I am not going to touch it. I am going to destroy it.
Robinson! We cannot attack their god!
This is no god! Can you not see what this is? The eyes! He is there in the eyes! The devil calling me! Demanding me!
Robinson!
No!
I had seen those eyes before. In my feverish visitation when God had appeared to me as my father and had smote me down. But the deeper I looked into them, the more I realized that what I saw was not the devil, but something else.
What?
It was the reflection of my own sin.
He destroyed it in a fury, and as the head fell to the ground, one of the eyes rolled out.
The ruby!
I saw Robinson reach down and put it in his pocket. I was going to take it from him that night, but before I had a chance to, he had left, ridden away on his horse, aware that he would bring the rest of us much trouble because of his actions.
Yeah, whatever your talk of religion, Robinson, you've always made sure that you've taken the money, the gold and the jewels that have come your way.
My father made his fortune as a merchant, even though he had wanted me to be a man of the law. That which is bred in the bone will out in the flesh.
What about my father? Where does he come into your story?
I rode day and night to Tobolsky and met him there along with the other exiled princes of Moscow, where we sat late into the night, drinking vodka and talking of past glories. And I promised him that I would escort you safely to Vienna. And if I cannot, then one of these men shall.
What are you doing?
I shall hand myself over to the Tartars.
You cannot.
It is time. If I sacrifice myself, then you will escape. Take my goods and use them for the passage of the boy.
No.
Please understand. You are my salvation now.
But there must be another way, Robinson. What about the story? It must be told.
Then you tell it.
How does it end?
With the understanding that the true greatness of life is to be masters of ourselves. That the height of human wisdom is to bring our tempers down to our circumstances and to make a calm within under the weight of the greatest storms without. That he who achieves victory over his own exorbitant desires, he whose reason entirely governs his will, is certainly greater than he who conquers a city. Farewell, my friends.
I didn't think he'd do that.
Neither did I. After all those tales of survival.
He will survive still. He will find a way.
I do not think that even Providence will get him out of this one.
We shall see.
Yes.
There's a path through here. We should be able to get through it whilst Robinson is distracting them. Come on!
So, will you tell his story?
Yes. Yes, maybe I will. And as I handed over Alexander Nikolaevich to his father's friends in Vienna, I hoped that Robinson somehow would be aware that his last request had been met and his troubled soul would finally be calmed.
And I bet you asked the Russians for some recompense.
Well, of course, just a little. I mean, after such a journey...
And what about the grindstone? I didn't hear anything about the grindstone that I made.
Robinson? Robinson!
Back here!
But how? We were certain that you would die.
Yeah. Before I reached their camp, I came across a stray Tartar horse and was able to escape on it. I was chased by over 100, but never has a man saddled a beast of such speed.
When did you return to England?
Now, that took longer than expected. You see, I had a few problems along the way. I can come up and tell you if you want, though it is rather a long story.
In episode 2 of Robinson Crusoe and His Farther Adventures by Daniel Defoe, Crusoe was played by Tim McInerney, The Merchant by Jonathan Tafler, The Russian Prince by Adrian Grove, Kirk by Sam Graham, and Friday by Ben Onwukwe. The Spaniard was played by David Timpson, Atkins by Mark Carey, Mary by Alison Pettit, and the Captain by Stephen Critchlow. Robinson Crusoe and His Farther Adventures was dramatised by Andy Barrett and directed in Birmingham by Peter Leslie Wilde.